Okay, so we are going to get started right away. My name is Lindsaya, and I'm so grateful for all of you that are taking the time, coming as you are. Please know for now and all future meetings, no makeup, no hair required. You don't even have to have anything but pajamas on. Please come clothed, of course, as if you are going to be on camera. This will be recorded for others' viewing pleasures. And we are excited to launch into our topic today. So, for just a brief overview, there are four of us that are industry leaders. I think collectively we have over 50 years of experience in the industry. We have salon owners, salon professionals, and many of us have, well, all of us have actually done additional work to become really true professionals in the world of color chemistry. And so today our topic is really going to be around the very prevalent thing that we see on social media, which is, again, well intended, I believe, from all professionals. We all were hit with the unexpected experience of not being able to work, not being able to service our customers. And we got to work trying to pivot through that and figure out how could we still take care of the guests we love so dearly? How can we continue to support them? And even how can we continue to support ourselves or our employees? And so there's a lot of innovation that was happening during this time. And we recognize that is really where it comes from. But we have seen a trend of the pop-up curbside color. And we wanted to have some dialogue around, what that looks like and what we should be considering if this is something that we see or we see our peers doing, and to have a loving conversation about how this does or does not support us as industry professionals, as an industry as a whole, and for customer safety and security. So my four, the four of us, my three peers, Drew, Kristen, and Mariah, if you would like to come off Zoom, or come off mute at any point, we please pour in. I'm going to ask some direct questions, but I know that we had some conversation around this, and I would just love to know if many of you are on camera, but even in the chat, just put your hand up if you know someone that has been doing this in your area, if you've seen it, or maybe you've dabbled in it a little bit to support some of your customers. And we're going to launch into the first things first. So for those of you that don't know me, I am partnered with a brand. It is an amazing brand, but I can speak on behalf of all manufacturers because this is a manufacturer conversation. And the reality is that manufacturers only have to back what is professionally purchased. And what I mean by that is there are certified licensed professionals or distributors who have contracts to purchase or sell the professional products that we all have come to know and use. And when that is said, that product is now backed by the manufacturer's guarantee that they know that there aren't any unknown additives, that it hasn't expired, that there aren't any chemical inconsistencies that would put anybody at risk, and that it adheres to all the government regulation necessary to keep everybody safe. And so when something is passed through the hands of anybody, so if you buy your professional product but you purchase it through Amazon, if that person is not a certified retailer and has permission to sell it there, the manufacturer is no longer held liable for any interaction that could occur while using the professional product. And so that is also the same can be stated about a client picking up a professional product, a non-licensed user using a professional product. All of those things are no longer backed by manufacturer guarantees. And so from a manufacturer standpoint, I know that it is strongly prohibited for us to pass along professional products to the hands of our customers unless they are consumer based, meaning styling aids, hairsprays, things that are intended for retail. And so, when I first saw that, that was one of the first things that came to mind, was that many of these people representing this solution probably were not aware that if a client had an interaction on scalp or on hair or something along those lines that didn't perform, there couldn't be a claim stated against the product company of choice. So again, it doesn't have to be a specific brand. This is really just a blanket statement for brands. But I would love for one of my colleagues to come on and tell me what are a couple of the things that because there were more that brought concern to, to the forefront of my brain from a chemical standpoint. Um, uh, Mariah, I would love, as the director of education, and I know you teach, we all teach, but you primarily are teaching and training teams of people on on chemical composition and how to ensure the customer safety. So could you just share with us a couple things that you know to be true about pre-mixing and selling hair color in this way?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we know, again, from that brand experience, like Lindsay said, working very closely with the color brand and then myself in education, always striving to deliver the best, most accurate information so that we can deliver the best possible service. So when we think about the way chemically that color works, we have the developer and then we have the color that comes out of the tube. And we know what happens as soon as those things, both of those components leave the bottle of developer. When the developer comes out and the color comes out of the tube and they hit the oxygen, hit the air, they begin to oxidize. We all understand that and we know that. We can all agree to that, right? So in thinking through, knowing that, I've seen different methods of delivery or transport or what's going to happen, from the stylist's hands into the client's hands, but we know that it's already begun to work. So we know instinctively that, and professionally, because we've been trained in it, that color is not going to perform at its maximum. And in order to get the result that we're looking for, the result that they want with, let's just say, that white coverage, it needs to be at its maximum potency. So it's already starting, that timer has already begun and that time is lapsing. Then if I've seen where they say they're mixing it together, even there, you've got your two components now, they've met in the bowl or in whatever contraption they have, and it's even working that much further and losing strength as it's sitting in that container. A couple of questions that came to my mind, like I had shared at our first little webisode here, is I'm always asking the question of why, or trying to have a deeper understanding of what is going on and thinking beyond. And I see that there's almost this assumption that the client's going to take that and go straight home and apply it onto their head, but we know that color is going to oxidize after 15 minutes. How do we know that they live 15 minutes away from the salon? Or how do we know that they're not going to just leave it in their trunk and, run out to the grocery store really quick because it was on their checklist of errands to get out and back, through the day? They come back thinking that they have exactly what we use in the salon. They go to apply it and then nothing happens, or they get an inconsistent result, or, because we know that these professional products are designed for professional use, and to take a professional item and give it to an untrained professional, there's a bit of a disconnect, where the things that we know that just come so naturally to us that you might not even think to explain, and I don't mean like any of you specifically, I just mean any stylist that might be considering this or have done it, there could be some gaps of information that would lend to the efficiency of the product being used, and saying like, you have to put it on right away, or this is how we do it in the salon, because it just comes so naturally to us. So I totally understand the reasons why in the list of pros, so to speak, and it makes perfect sense, but we can't ignore what is inevitable on the other side of that, possibly creating a bigger, larger issue in trying to do a good thing.
Yeah. So just to make sure that I understood you correctly, and to make it, to reiterate what you said. So stating that because of the way that the chemicals function, because there is a time lapse, meaning that there's a time in which they no longer are active, because of the oxygen in the developer and the alkaline product in the color. And when they come together, that's where you actually get that conglomeration. So you not only get the strength to reduce natural melanocytes or melanin in the hair, so lighten the hair color, but that's also where you're getting that larger, conglomeration of the larger pigments that would cover white hair, change the hair permanently. And then you're also saying because of application, we could run into some issues, inconsistency or lack of performance or something along those lines. Did I understand that correctly?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. I couldn't say, of course, I agree wholeheartedly on that. That was one of my first things that I know or thought of. Everything from you'd have to know exactly how far away GPS style, they'd have to confirm that they were going right home. And no matter what, whatever that travel time has been, deducted from their processing time. So without a doubt, if everything was safe and well, there still would be a reason why that wouldn't be serving our clients to the highest level. With Kristen, I know that we had some brief dialogue, and I know this is something you and I have had massive amounts of dialogue around, all of us, of course, but you and I in regards to the past, where we really hold it. I don't know how many of you on the call have been really involved with the conversation around deregulating our industry. So reducing the need for licensing to become a hair professional. And Kristen and I and all of our leaders, we wholeheartedly disagree with this. We believe that, to be quite frank, that not only do we need the education we already receive, but there should be required additional education necessary to maintain our licensing and to ensure the safety of our peers. And so, Kristen, could you just, lay it on us? How does this line up in regards to that and your thought along and as a salon owner, your thought in regards to salon liability, which would also be indicated in freelancers or personal independence, because of course we're all liable professionally, but with a salon owner, it starts at the salon level. And if you are an independent or freelancer, you are the liable party.
Hi, everybody. And yeah, I have a lot to say about that. First, I just have to say that my husband laughed at me because he's like, where are you going? I had to feel human today. So if I look like I'm going to the prom, I'm going to it. It might be at my house, but I'm doing it. So from here down, though, it's all pajamas. But anyway, yeah, the scary part for me and what I thought about, actually, Mariah brought it up, and I thought it was such a good point. We were just communicating and talking, and out of that came, deregulation. And something that I've been fighting, I actually started a petition on Michigan Pro company that I started here in Michigan. And I started this petition with PDA about 5 years ago or so, because they were looking at deregulating, so many states were looking at getting rid of our licensing. In Michigan right now, I don't know if everyone's aware because there's so much going on with this pandemic, but it's actually really scary because barbers are the ones who, their license, it's almost passed. Like the last time I looked, they're trying to deregulate barbers in Michigan, and hairdressers are next. So with that said, and with that fight that we're trying to fight, Mariah brought up a really good point that I think it's going to be very challenging for, the governors and the people that are in power to actually look at this and say, well, if hairdressers are just giving their professional products away curbside and having their clients take it home, what does that say to, to our industry? And how does that show the, licensing bureau and Lara for Michigan, it's Lara, how does that show them that we are someone who needs to have a license, that we actually work with chemicals that should not be used at home by unlicensed professionals? And so I think that is something that hairdressers need to be aware of, because there are other states that are dealing with this even more severe, at a more severe level than we are in Michigan. And I think that it's a scary thing to think that our licensing could go away. And I think times like this are the times that hairdressers need to come together, and we need to really figure out what that means for us and come together as one so that we all follow the same guidelines. I know it's really tough though. As a business owner, the first thing my clients were asking was, how are they going to do their hair? And I wanted to so badly help them. But at the end of the day, I looked at it, we're all supposed to either be at home or we're workers that are essential, right? So an essential worker, the last thing that they are worried about right now is what you look like. And I think that for me, it was easier for me to step back and say, it's not something that I really wanted to wait and see kind of where the industry was heading. But I felt as though it was better to just wait and let everyone wait. And the other reason why I thought that too was because when we get back into the salon, I know as an owner of a salon, I need every single person on deck. I need them on deck, ready to go, ready to fight, because we are going to have to make up the money. And as hairdressers, we have the potential to make up the money that we have lost because we can work extra hours. We can bring clients in. And if everyone's doing things at home, it's going to be a little more challenging for us, I believe, for people to hurry up and come back into the salon.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know there's even further conversation that we can have around what that would actually set us up to be against in the future. So essentially what would not be serving our comeback. Um, and there are a lot, we're going to actually be diving into some of these topics in the future in regards to how do we come back? How do we come back stronger? What do we need to consider? You know, there's a lot that we'll need to consider when we're reassessing adding our clientele back into our life. Where do you start? Who gets to come first? What does the booking look like? There will be a lot of things. So we're going to dive deeper into those in upcoming episodes. And we invite you to continue to come back, please, and join us. And at the end of every video, what we will do is we will have a live Q&A for those that have been able to join us live here on Zoom. So beyond the recording, we'll stay here and have dialogue and have an opportunity to really connect with the community. But before that, I want to go to Drew. Drew, as a salon owner, and I know that in your particular situation, you have a W-2 salon. So we'll talk again about this in the upcoming but episodes as well. But as a W-2 salon, I know that you have a different way of looking at this as well in regards to how to support your staff during this time or what's available to you. And I would love to know some of the ways or dialogue or anything you'd like to add in regards to how this showed up for your staff, the questions, or some of your concerns. Any thoughts that you have around it?
So just to talk about owning a W-2 salon versus owning a salon that's full of independent contractors, the advantage is the girls that work in my salon, because they are a W-2 employee, they are able to collect unemployment. So, you know, that is kind of a safety net for them. However, for myself being the owner and my co-owner, Becky, we don't have quite that option. And so we don't have that safety net that they were given since day one of having to close. As a salon owner, though, who, you know, I've had 2 weeks, it took me 2 weeks to basically cancel all of our appointments thus far through the middle of April, having those individual conversations with clients and then having clients reach out to me daily through Facebook, through Instagram, to ask me questions about the celebrity stylists that are projecting this take-home color, and then also seeing in the news that there are salons locally, not necessarily locally to where I am geographically, but, you know, outside of my area that are promoting this take-home color. It's very important for me as an owner to have those direct conversations with clients about the risks you run with coloring your own hair. The fact that if I do sell, like Kristen said, if I sell a tube of my salon purchased hair color to a client with the developer, I am liable for whatever happens. And, you know, you may have had a client that has come to you for 10 years and you've used the exact same color formula on them. They get home, they mix the exact same thing that you've mixed, and all of a sudden they have a reaction and have to go to the hospital. That is completely 100% on you for selling them a tube of color that they cannot go to a store and buy. So just really honing in on that liability factor of why we shouldn't be doing this. But then also the challenges you get from applying a box color over professional hair color. I have a lot of clients that come every 3 to 6 weeks for a retouch, and I do have some every 2-week clients. And for them, you know, being out of the salon now for a month and seeing any type of white is horrifying. So I've had them reach out to me about, you know, what type of box would you recommend, and what would you recommend me applying, and how should I apply it? And in having those conversations, box color will never fully mirror professional hair color. And so for the clients that absolutely cannot go without coloring their hair, I've asked them to apply slightly lighter shades and directly to their regrowth if they absolutely have to do it, if that is their only resort, because we also can't come from a place of shaming where we cannot tell our clients, absolutely do not do it, like, I'll hate you for it, blah, 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 they'll start crying and everything else, because we do want to step back into the salon with a positive atmosphere. And so to minimize the amount of correction that I have in the future, I've asked them to please use lighter shades than what you have now. At least that would be something that I could easily cover over, and we'll go from there. But I do extend the fact that a lot of box colors do tend to turn into corrective services. And so that is something where, as an owner, I know that going back into the salon, I'm going to be hit pretty hard with the amount of services I have to do to catch up. And also the amount of people that we've had to cancel. In 2 weeks, we've had to cancel well over 400 people. And just that anxiety of bringing them all back into the salon as soon as we open is, it's intense, and we can work a little bit later and everything else, but we don't necessarily have the time allotted for corrective services right back into going back into the salon. And so anyone that box colors their hair, I'm treating as a corrective service. And so it is I always require a consultation before I book a corrective service. And so depending on what that looks like, I could have a consultation with my client and then book them an appropriate time at a later date. But just stepping back into the salon, I think it's really important to have those conversations with clients as they reach out. What are the next steps? If you can get away with using a little bit of a spray root touch-up powder that washes out, great. That is a great solution. It'll definitely help your hairdresser. If you absolutely need to use a box of hair color, I'm not going to shame you for it, because I understand. It's very real. A lot of us, we pay a lot of money to get away from our natural hair color. And please just be advised that it's never going to look 100% like professional hair color, and extending it out through your ends is creating, a deeper problem. And so just having those conversations, I think, are really key with your clients, and being just very direct and very honest, but also just remembering not to come from a place of shame either. It's great if they can wait, obviously. It's not like we're all going out and we're going to fancy events or anything else, but people still have to look in a mirror every day, and we still have to feel good about ourselves, even though we're not allowed to leave our house except to go to the grocery store. So just keeping that in mind and having those honest conversations with clients, I think, are really important for when we do prepare to step back into the salon. And I know even in canceling appointments now, I'm not giving people a date for reopening, because we don't fully know 100% when that is. And so I'm just keeping spreadsheets of when everyone is, when their appointments were, what they were booked for, and those are going to be first priority going back into the salon. But until further notice, we're all kind of in a little bit of a gray area, and I think it's really important just to take some precautionary steps to really navigate through that in order to achieve success walking back into the salon. And I know that I had a conversation with the girls from my salon the other day, and we're all itching to get back. I mean, I know that as hairdressers, I'm not necessarily like the largest people person, right? But I do miss my connections with my clients and also my team. And so for me, having to sit at home has been very difficult. And like Kristen said, thank you for allowing us the opportunity to actually wake up and put some clothes on. So
Yeah.
pajamas on the bottom, shirt on top. But.
Oh, I love it. Well, and so you hit on some very important things, and any three of you can come off and share what you have seen, witnessed, or are doing in your salon. But I know, again, that this stems from a desire to help. There's no other way of stating it. We're trying to help our clients. We're trying to help our employees. If we're independent, we're striving to help our bank accounts and our clients at the same time. I mean, people are in a time in which there has been a significant change to the bottom dollar, right? And it's not that it's all about money, but the reality is that's how we continue to live and thrive. And so the pivot was 100% intending to aid those that were in need, but we have some other ways that you can continue to service your clients from afar, and you can set yourself up for success coming back in. So I know particularly with the line that I'm partnered with, we have a direct dye conditioner. And so it's really wonderful for people who need to just add life back into their color. We actually are able to sell that professional strength because it doesn't have a developer. It is only professional strength because it has a concentration of color. So with a well-articulated conversation around that, we can help our customers be successful. And at the end of the day, they also aren't going to do any harm because it's going to have a temporary effect. So you can, for someone who has dark hair and likes to have a blended effect of their white, you can use it as a conditioner in the shower. Someone who has red or highlights or something like that, you can bring back, through the mid shaft and ends. We also have one of the participants here today, Glenn. He shared with us a beautiful theater trick that they use all the time. He's heavily involved in theater, and that's using nothing more than a tube of mascara and some dry shampoo. And so that's another tip you can give to your guests, especially if they're pulling their hair away, to mascara just around the face, adding some dry shampoo and combing through, and to really help to camouflage. I know you've probably all seen the video of Kim K when she has her hair back like this, and it's filled in with hair shadow. Not hair shadow, eyeshadow. So that's something as well if they don't currently carry a hair shadowing product. But I know that Kristen's pointing to her head, so she's probably got some of that going on. But Kristen, I also know that many of you are partners in different distribution areas. And so different distributors have different products, and some of them also have a third party available service, which is a pass-through service. The way that it works is that you send a link to your guest. They purchase product directly from that distribution center that is typically only for professional use, but they've allocated the products that would be retail products so that non-licensed users can only purchase those products. They don't have access to their full database. And then when your client purchases the product, you get a retail sales profit check. So essentially you earn commission like you would in the salon on the products that you're sharing. And Kristen, I know you've integrated this into your salon. It's absolutely something to reach out to those certified distributors that you're purchasing from and from your color brands and companies, and see what do they have available, how can they support you, what products are safe to pass through to our clients, and how can we do this efficiently and continue to earn some money. So those are some great tips. Kristen, if you want to share any of the ones that you're currently using or anything along those lines, or Mariah, by Drew, jump on off mute.
Actually, yeah, I just want to tell everybody, there was I wrote a couple notes, so I have a few things, but I just want everyone to know that reach out to your distributors and see who already is within Salon Interactive. If they're already with Salon Interactive, then I will tell you it's a great program because clients already are using it for us, and we've made $155, and I'm giving 10% of my earnings to my staff. So at least it's paying for food. You know what I mean? I'm helping them with something, and I feel good about that. So what happened was Salon Interactive actually got overwhelmed because every company realized that they wanted to use this, right? So what happened was when I realized certain distributors were not going to do Salon Interactive, and I wanted those products because I want to try to make any money I possibly can, right? So I reached out to the companies directly. The companies were on board 100%. They reached out to Salon Interactive, and what ended up happening, Salon Interactive's overwhelmed. They aren't taking new clients until fall. So in replace of that, the companies that I reached out to, which I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say names, so I'm not going to say anything yet, but the companies that I reached out to, they were very, very open. So reach out to companies, because the one company that I reached out to that couldn't get on there and couldn't join, they actually have a retail on their website. So now all that is happening is you put my KBella code, shout out, and you put that when you purchase the products on their website, and they're sending me a check every month on the 15th for 25% commission. So I think that, if you have a company that you work with, call them directly. You might be surprised on the money that you can actually make, and clients want to support you. So this is a great way to make more money. And I also, yeah, the eyeshadow, it's perfect, especially if you have girls like me with punky colors. I've always used eyeshadow. My pink, purple, blue, yellow, it works fabulous. Get it wet, eyeshadow it, and then so obviously black, browns, blondes work also really, really well. And the only other thing I wanted to mention, just because Drew mentioned it, and I know this call is not about unemployment, but just in case there's anyone on the call that is worried about that, I just want everyone to know that the federal government passed the law. So it is 100% everyone that is an independent contractor, no matter what you are, you can get unemployment. You just have to wait until your state gets the website up and running. Michigan's is not. Everyone who applied is actually going to get denied most likely. So I just want everyone to know that, so that you guys, if you are one of those people that did not know that, I just want to set your mind at ease. So I just wanted to say that. So just keep an eye on your government's website. And then the only other thing, and I'm trying to hurry, I know we don't want it to go too long, but I just wanted to say the other part that, and maybe Mariah or Drew could talk about this, but I do want to bring up the fact that we have to look at the future too, of what we are doing with our clients now, so that they know what they think is right in the future. So if you are, giving them curbside color, what is going to change that for them in the future to actually think that, oh, I can't get in, you're too busy, I'm flying out tomorrow, I have a funeral tomorrow, could you do that curbside color? I don't know if Mariah or Drew want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm jumping in, sorry, not to, but that one right there, I think it's so important that we think about setting precedents, right? Like what we do now will stay with us for a really long time. And so we can turn things into being, just because it happens often doesn't make it normal. So normal is often just what you find to be popular, and sometimes it's popular in the moment. I don't know how many of you could look back on something you said or believed 5 years ago and go, what was I thinking? So it's a very human experience, right? We're striving to do something innovative in the moment, but we are setting precedents and expectations of our clientele for the future. And we want to make sure we're doing those and creating expectations that are in alignment with how we're going to function when we're back to being fully functional. So I love that. I love that point. Thank you so much for
Absolutely. And you definitely don't want to be the individual that's like, yes, I was doing this now, and no, we can't do it in the future. And so you definitely want to set those expectations like from the start, because clients do build on habit a lot of the time. And the more you let them get away with, and the more that you extend to them, which is outside of A, your licensure, and B, just your salon culture, the more that they are going to expect. And so just stop it right then and there and have those conversations.
Yeah, and I think to put in one final point to add on to everything that's already been said, if you were to find yourself in the situation where you're having the conversation of, well, you did it before, why can't you do it again? What do you say now? Because we've kind of muddied the water between professionalism and non-professional. So rather than even opening up the door for that, making the decisions now with the future in mind, I'm sure we all are familiar with the phrase beginning with the end in mind. Everything that we're doing now being seeds that we're planting are contributing to what is going to be our situation in the future, and the conversations that we have now with them lending to that future discussion where you can even eliminate that completely because it just was never started from this point. So like everyone said, the things that we do now, I know we're so hyper focused because we're limited in what we can do, but every decision that we make and every action that we take in these moments is most certainly going to give us the results in our future. So being mindful of all of that is something that's extremely important.
Yes, absolutely. Beautifully said. So we are going to stop this recording. First, I'm going to thank everyone who's watching now present here, and also invite those of you that are live to stay on, and we'll do a open Q&A and community and coffee to close out. But for those of you watching in the future, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining. Leave your comments below. Make sure you subscribe on our YouTube channel so that you can get notified as we continue to post these for all of our upcoming events. Join our Facebook page or follow our Facebook page Stylist Culture Collective and join our private group. We will continue to pour resources in there. So as we learn more about what is available, both for W-2 and 1099 employees, as we come across those resources, we will continue to flood that Facebook group with those to continue to support our industry and all of our friends and family out there doing the best that we can. And to just give a final recap, we're saying a big no to the curbside pickup. So to keep that very clear, thumbs down I'm seeing in the cameras. So to keep that clear, we're not stating it from a place of shaming, and we understand and wholeheartedly get why so many pivoted in this direction, striving to do nothing but to support their clientele. But we have had ample discussion this morning around how chemically it doesn't support us, how it's not supported by our licensing nor by government regulation. It's not backed by manufacturer's guarantee, and it can set us up for nothing but a lack of success in the future as we ease our way back into coming into the salon and back into our clients back into our hands, I guess we would say. So we want to make sure that we're supporting them and we're showing them and leading the cause by setting precedents on how we would handle this and all of these types of inquiries in the future, whether it's COVID related or another reason why they would not be able to get on our books. We don't want to set precedents that this is a viable option or a future option as we proceed. So we're sending you lots of love. Thank you for watching, and we will catch you this coming Friday at 3 p.m. for a happy hour conversation, and we hope you join.